In this video, I'm gonna paint some of the most iconic Space Marine chapters in a quick and effective way, following the
GRIMDARK style.
We're just gonna dive into the real dark world of the Imperium of Men. So if you want to learn some new cool techniques never heard before to paint your loyalist army, what are you doing? Just keep watching, will you? After priming black mimes, I'm gonna apply a base coat in different colors for the different chapters, trying to make the most of color theory. I'm gonna use a magenta base coat for Imperial Fist, a green base coat for Blood Angels, a red base coat for Dark Angels, and finally a gray for White Scars. This way we're gonna use the complementary colors to have more contrast, or at least that was the purpose. The exception is maybe the gray or White Scars and the magenta for Imperial Fist, because, well, gray is just gray and magenta allows you to build that orangey hue. For this step I am using an airbrush, but you can actually use your brush with no problem at all. Then I'll start stippling the armor with white paint, using a more thinned down consistency first and feathering randomly the paint around it, gradually using less thin paint in the most exposed area of the mini, like the head, the backpack, the shoulders, yada yada yada. The aim is to have differences in value and then paint in transparency. And for this I'm gonna use a very old brush, and there are no really big skills involved because I'm just stippling the paint on randomly, trying to control a little bit of the dilution, and the aim is to actually create texture, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But as long as you keep right consistency, you shouldn't leave any big marks. So that's the main difference from using like a dry brush, which you can do whatever. This is a step that many people would do with an airbrush, but A, I suck at airbrushing, and B, we don't really want a clean look if we're doing grimdark, so texture is cool. Or maybe it's just an excuse because I don't know how to spray well. Whatever. Speaking of the devil, on this weathered canvas, I then proceed to apply some contrast paints, yellow, green, and red. You'll find the names of the colors in the description down below. And yes, I dared apply it with an airbrush, but honestly, you can easily apply it with a brush, like I said before. To be honest, I really could have done a better job with this. I'm not really good with airbrush, if you didn't get that. I could have done a better job making it stand out more and the volume change that I build up later. You know, whatever. I'm gonna fix it in the next step. What did Bob Ross say? Happy mistakes. And now it's time for a real grimdark streaking grime. I then apply all over my miniature streaking grime. You can do this step with a brush too, but it works better apply with an airbrush in my experience. When you use all over streaking grime or oil washes, you don't really want to wait too long to clean off all that off your miniatures. Right, Tsumikito? So after only a few minutes, I take a sponge and I start to get rid of the excess, also trying to create interesting patterns and textures. Be aware that usually these techniques work so well with lighter surfaces, as you can see from the White Scar and Imperial Fist, but not as much with the darker ones like the Blood Angels and the Dark Angels. But we're gonna get to that, so keep watching. Well, yeah. After everything is well dried, I sprayed all the miniatures with gloss varnish in order to prepare it for the decals and the possible panel lining to give them even more definition. Honestly, you can skip this step if you think that streaking grime already done the job, and it really depends on the color of the Space Marine. For example, the white was pretty much defined already, but anyway, I did a pass of black lining just to give more definition to my models. And please remember, every paint job has a very bad, ugly face. Just keep going, push through. Trust me, it's gonna work out. Taking advantage of the gloss varnish, I'm gonna also apply some decals. The week prior to filming this painting footage, I went crazy looking for decals and I ended up paying 12 euros for 3 sheets. Pretty shitty shits. And I use Green Stuff World decal softener and decal fixer. Probably is way better to use Microsoft than Microsol though. After the decals were applied, I again sprayed with matte varnish this time and I started working on some quick lights. I stole this technique of using oils to do quick highlights from dearest Marco Frizzoni. I applied undiluted oil paints on the palette, which is basically blinding you with its reflection. Sorry about that. I'm gonna be using yellow, green, and white for the Dark Angels, red, yellow, and white for the Blood Angels, yellow for Imperial Fist, and finally pure white with a white scar. With a synthetic brush, I start applying oil color in the most lighted areas of the miniatures, so head, shoulder pads, and backpack, areas like this. If you don't know where to apply, just follow along what I'm doing. And then with a rounded and soft brush, I easily blend the oil paint with the rest. Again, here it's pretty easy even for someone who doesn't have a very steady hand. The only thing is that when you blend the colors into the oil color into your miniature, you gotta be real soft with your hands, treat it with care. Oil paints are pretty saturated. They allow you to go pretty bright without actually have to do any of the hard work. So it's a very good technique that I stole from my dearest Marco Frizzoni. For the rest is the standard things, just base coat, wash, except for the lenses, which you might want to give a little bit more attention, but sometimes I don't paint it at all, so it's my fault, I guess. So here's the result of my 4 chapters. I really hope that you learned something. Here's another video that YouTube wants to watch, so watch it. Bye.